All right, we are recording. So I wanted to do some quick listing presentation training here and kind of show you how I go through the process of listing presentation with the seller and build rapport and kind of explain what it is that we do, who we are, and why we're there to help them. The first thing, as a side note, the only difference here is obviously it's not a real seller I'm talking to. And so one of the key points I want you to remember as we're going through this is I always, there's a point here where I ask questions at the beginning. And when I ask those questions, I write those down on our listing appointment details. And then I remember what is important to them. And I really, really highlight those because it's very rare that one of those is not something we highlight in one of our slides or multiple slides. And so whatever that is, I highlight that to them because I know that's important to them. So, also, I'm going to be pointing out changes. We're going to be revamping this and updating it. So I'm going to be pointing out changes that I'm going to send to Larissa to update this. And so just ignore that when I say we need to make this change and this change. That's for Larissa, not for you guys. All right. So I always start with this slide. Where did it all start? I think it's very important. I took Kristen on a listing presentation with me yesterday. It's one of her past clients' moms. And I asked her what she took away from the listing presentation. And she said, you spend a lot of time explaining who the team is, what we're about, and why we're there. And I repeat myself, and I tell that story repetitively as many times as I possibly can, because I think that's crucial. People need to realize that we are good people and we're here for good reasons, and we're not just here to sell you or make money or any of that. And so a little bit of that, let me just get into it. This is kind of how it goes. So all right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I always like to start here to give you guys a background of who our team is, where we came from, and what we're about. So I didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, starting a team sounds like a great idea. It really came out of necessity. And so as a single agent, I was very fortunate and was very, very busy early on. And with that became a lot of obstacles. And so one of the obstacles was as an individual real estate agent, you are wearing a lot of different hats on a daily basis. You are your own marketer, you're your own receptionist, you're your own buyer's agent, your own listing agent. You're out showing properties and you can't call the leads that are coming in. You don't have time to follow up with the lender property, the title company, do your inspections, termite inspections, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on and on and on. And so what I found was, what if I could take that stuff off of my plate and be able to focus more on the stuff that I excelled in, which was the people part, and have somebody that excelled in the operations standpoint and can be more organized and can do that type of work. If I had those people focus on that and I focused on what I was good at, seeing how that would result. And so what I did was I hired an assistant and hired the assistant to do that kind of stuff, do the operational stuff and do the paperwork, the emails, and just keeping me organized to make sure I didn't miss anything. Because as a single agent, I missed a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm not going to lie. And I felt like I was doing my clients a disservice. And so I wanted to provide them more. And so that's where the team came from, is because when I hired that assistant, then business started growing. And then I hired a buyer's agent because I had too many buyers and not enough time. And then we hired a listing agent. And then we hired another operations person. And then we hired more agents. Now we are, fast forward 2.5, 3 years later, we're a team of about 25 people now. We have 2 offices. And we are projected to be in top 5 team in the state of Missouri. Why I say that is just to let you know that we started for a reason and we wanted to provide better service. So team mentality, we truly focus or function as a team. Our focus is to provide you as the client better service. Our focus is not making more sales or what's best for us. It's how can we work together to give you as the client the best service that we can. And so I don't want to badmouth any other offices, but I do want to let you know I've been in those other offices and I have been an agent. And in an typical office, it's very competitive. And instead of being a healthy competition, sometimes it can turn into it's agents fighting against each other to get your business. And I thought there's got to be a better way. We need to make this about the client, not about the agent, what is best for them. And so at our offices, what we do is we focus on how every day can we work together to give you better service. And it just truly makes a big, big difference in the results that we get because we are all working together. All of us are working for you to give you the best service that we possibly can. And so there'll be more slides that explain that, but I just think it's very important to kind of explain who we are and where we come from. So next slide. This is our mission statement. So I won't bore you by reading it, but we have a servant's mentality. One of our mottos is exceeding expectations. And we truly treat all of our team members as family, as well as our extended family of our clients. We believe in hard work, integrity, and we have developed processes that are the best in the industry. And so that process is very, very important to you. We'll explain that as we go through here. But what that means is that every file that we get, every listing that we get, every buyer that we get, we have a process that we have developed to make sure that we don't drop the ball and we are able to give you better service than you can get anywhere else. And so that process is run through our operations team and through our sales team to make sure that every single time that we do this action or that action, every time that we go through the checklist to make sure that nothing gets missed on your behalf and we give you the service that you deserve. So we want to go to work for you. So what are 3 things that you're looking for in a realtor? And at this point, I'll follow up and ask them, have you sold a home before? How was that experience? Because then they will talk and talk and talk about what they didn't like or what they did like. And then I'm taking mental notes and writing it down on my listing appointment details about what high points I need to talk about. So typically they say, I want communication. That's the most common theme that I hear. And so let's pretend Amanda's the seller and she says, well, I want to make sure that I'm communicating with. I had a previous real estate agent and they weren't very good in communication. Perfect. That's one of the things our team is designed to do. And so I'll explain that further in another slide, but we believe in over communicating. We stress that all the time in our team. And that's part of what you have with us, is that it's not just me working for you, it's our whole team. And so you have all of our agents, all our buyers agents, our listing team, our listing coordinator, our transaction coordinator, our marketing department, all of us are working together to provide you service. And so when I say listing coordinator, since I'm talking to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, a listing coordinator's job is to make sure that they service your listing to give you the communication that you need. So they will be the ones that's calling to schedule a showing. What happened when I was an individual agent is I would be out on an appointment like I am now, and my phone would go off. I get back and had 13 missed calls from people wanting to see your house or the house that I just listed yesterday. And I felt like I was doing you a disservice because I couldn't answer that because I was in another meeting. And so now what we have is, number one, we have a bunch of technology that takes care of that. We also have a listing coordinator at the office and other support staff that are there to make sure that we're getting all those showing requests, any of that paperwork, and all the organization stuff done for you. So I don't drop the ball and miss something for you. Something else that people say they're looking for is marketing. That's an easy one. You'll see as we go through this, that's one of my passions, and that's what I tell them, I have spent tens of thousands of dollars, and I'm fine with you saying this because I can prove it, tens of thousands of dollars learning, not just in the software, but learning, just educational on how to be a better marketer. And so that speaks volumes of people that I've invested that kind of money to learn how to market better. And so I explain that in other slides too about how we market properties. Something else that may be common is, let me think here. They usually will have a complaint about something another realtor didn't do or did do, and I'll just write that down. Or they say, well, I don't want last minute showings or something like that. That's just an objection that you can handle with education of, well, you know, and whenever they say that, I say our philosophy is, or our rule is that we give you as much notice as we possibly can. But I'm not going to do you the disservice of somebody sitting in your driveway and they see my sign and they call me. I'm not going to say, oh, sorry, you have to wait 24 hours to see it. What I'm going to do is call you and say, hey, I'm sorry for the short notice, but I just got this lead. They're sitting here right now and want to see you in 5 minutes. Is it okay if I head out there and meet them at the house to show it? You can always tell me, no, we're not going to be at your house without your permission, but I don't want you to be mad at me when that happens. You're hiring me to sell your property, and I don't want to lose out on those opportunities. So I just explain that to them just so they understand how that works. All right, so then I move on, and again, a lot of this stuff will tie into stuff I've already said because I made these slides, so I know what they say. But so I explain how most brokerages work. So I've been there, and Amanda, you can say that you've been there, and use personal stories that relate with them. Stories sell. People relate to stories that you have. And so this is how most brokerages work, and this is how I worked as an individual agent before I started the team, or in your case, before I joined the team. And so the agent, it was an agent-centric model. The agent is in the center, and the agent is responsible for doing everything. And I'll just point out some things. They're negotiating. They're the one showing properties. They work with buyers. They work with sellers. They get the title work done. They follow up with the lender. Just whatever you want to point out that is time consuming that relates to that person. That is all the stuff that one person is doing, and it's all revolves around the agent. And again, hit on whenever you're doing all of those things, number one, you're not going to do them effectively. And you could drop the ball on something or forget about something. And number two, you're going to miss the urgency and the communication that is necessary. And so what we have done is we have not revamped the model. We just created a whole new model. And the agent's not in the center anymore. It's not about us. It's about you as the client. So how can we give you better service? And so we created a client-centric model. We want to give you the best service that we possibly can. And so what that looks like is we have ownership of the company that is looking at a 30,000-foot view every single day on how can they provide better service, bigger, better, faster, what new technology is available. We've got a network of agents across the country in our EXP network that are always learning the newest, greatest, and latest thing, and we are always innovating and looking for the next best thing. I always like to tell people that we are an old school company, meaning we have a bunch of old school principles. You cannot beat word of mouth advertising, but we are very forward thinking also. And so we use all the technologies available, and whatever is going to happen in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I want to start that today. So the time that is the most important thing and everybody's using it, I want to be the master of it. And so I'll explain some of that as we continue to go about technology and stuff. But at the end of the day, what we are built on old school principles. We want to take such good care of you that you can't help but to brag about us and tell your friends and family that they need to use us if they're ever looking to buy or sell. And so we have ownership. We have buyer specialist that gives them tunnel vision. And what that does for you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is we have a team of 12 buyers agents that all day, every day, all they do is they work with buyers exclusively. So we have a lead database right now of 15,000 leads that are actively looking for homes. And so if I'm a single agent and I'm doing all these different things and I'm on a listing appointment right now, I can't call buyers because I'm with you. But guess what I have? I've got 12 buyers agents on my team right now that are calling leads. They're on the phone with leads right now that could be interested in your property. No other company has that. And so it's very powerful for you. Another thing that we have is transaction coordination. And so what that means is it allows those buyer specialists that I talked about that are going to sell your property, it allows them to focus on selling so that all the organizational stuff and the paperwork stuff can be done not only properly, but it also allows the buyer's agents to have tunnel vision and not get distracted so they can go out and sell your property quicker and for more money. Administrative staff, so we have other operation support. We have listing coordination. We already talked about that. We'll schedule the photos, input your property in the MLS. And again, it won't distract me from what I'm doing to get more listings, which produces us more buyers, which may be interested in your property. We have a listing specialist, which I'm playing the role of today, and we have a marketing department. And so all of this is around you as the client to give you better service. I always like to put names with faces. And so this is a part Larissa is going to update the faces in here. So I just kind of explain who they are very briefly. I read body language just so you know on this. And so if they're like, oh, this guy won't shut up, get over it, I'll go through this really, really fast. But if they're like into it, I'll explain who they are. Some people would be like, oh, I know Shannon or whatever. And then I build rapport at that point. Next here's our operations team. And so these are the heartbeat of a team. They are doing all the work on the back end, and you don't realize how big of an impact they're going to have on your home sale yet, but I promise you, they are a very vital part of what we do. And then we have our buyer specialist, and here's some of our buyer specialists on the team. And again, Larissa, make sure all these faces are updated. Team versus traditional. And so again, not trying to pick on anybody, I'm just trying to explain to you how our model is different. And so I've worked in a typical real estate office, 2 of them as a matter of fact, before I decided to start my own team. And the typical real estate office has 1 staff member. That's it. And their job is to answer the phone. As a matter of fact, I've got an agent on my team now that was at another office before he came to the team. And he was telling me a story about he was at a closing and he forgot his termite inspection at the closing. So what did he do? He called his office and said, "Hey, Mrs. Receptionist, can you please fax me or scan me over that termite inspection for 123 Main Street, whatever the address was, because I need to get that for the closing that I'm happening right now. I'm way across town in the closing company. Can you just send it over?" So she did, because it was the right thing to do. And he got in trouble by the owner of the company because that is the owner's employee, not his. And so he needs to reimburse that lady for her time. And so, not saying all offices are like that, but that's out there. And so I just want to explain to you that that's why I say all the agents are typically doing everything themselves, because that kind of stuff goes on. So how we operate is my goal is to give the agents such good support that they can go out and do their job even better, versus the opposite of, well, the agent, you get paid all the big bucks, you do all of it. No, I want to support them so that they can do more stuff. And so we try to maintain a 2 agent to 1 staff member ratio, give or take. And so what that allows them to do is not only support you as the seller, but it also allows them to support the agents, so that they can provide better service and get more buyers for your property. This is one of my favorite slides. Beware of inexperienced agents. So we have over 50 years experience on our team. And again, we are the #1 selling team in the area. But I just want to point out that just because you have a real estate license doesn't mean that you're a real estate expert or you're a professional yet. For example, to become a cosmetologist, you have to have 1,500 hours of schooling. To get your real estate license, you have to have 72 hours. So to be able to put makeup on somebody, you have to have 1,500 hours of experience. To be able to sell real estate, 72 hours. So that just explains, just because you have a real estate license doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. 30% of agents are brand new every year. Just don't be fooled by an inexperienced agent. What does it take to sell your home? We call it the 3 Ps. Our goal is to sell your home for the highest possible price in the shortest amount of time and the least amount of stress to you. Again, it's kind of a cliche, but we call it 3 Ps. They are presentation, promotion, and price. We feel that if we can present your home well, promote your home well, and price your home well, then we're going to get the desired result for you. So let's talk about the first P, is presentation. Presentation, a lot of this we rely on you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So the way I look at it is, once we put your home on the market, your home is a product that is for sale on the shelf. And so we want to make sure it's presented in its best capacity. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is you only get 1 shot at a first impression. Let's make sure it's a good one. And so a lot of that stuff is, whenever I walked through your home with you earlier and you gave me the tour, thank you for that, by the way, it's a lovely home. Whenever I pointed out and said, we need to do this and remove this off the counter, remove those photos, and all those tips and tricks that I gave you, as long with the home prep guide that I sent you that we've created, those are help design you to give you the tools that you need to get the home presented in its best form. So again, we rely on you to do some of that, because we can't do all that for you. We'll give you all the tools that you need to get that done properly, but we do rely on you to that. We look at it, we're a team working together because we have a common goal. So part of that is we want it to present well, because #1, marketing is everything. We'll talk about that in promotion, but we also, when we get them here, we want to make sure they fall in love with the property. So we need your help. It's very, very crucial, not only for photos, but also for showings, that the home is presented in its best. I understand that you still have to live here, and I understand that there are things that aren't always going to be perfect, but let's just try to make it as perfect as we can. One of the tips is leave all the lights on when you leave, open any blinds for natural light, remove clutter off all the counters. I always tell people, if I'm living in my house and I'm going to sell it, which I've done before, I'm going to sell my house bins, is what I call them. And I bought some bins off Amazon, and everything that I didn't use every day, even if I did use it every day, and it was something, my toothbrush that I'll leave on the counter, for example, or whatever it may be that you have, I would just shove it in the bin when I know I had a showing, put it in the bin and shove it under my bed. That way I don't have it in the storage unit and nobody knows that it's there, but it also helps the house be presented. So I can give you more tips and tricks on that. And again, we'll send you our home prep guide if we haven't already, that explains all that stuff in detail. And these are some general tips. Again, make sure the lawn's mowed, all that, all the lights on, beds need to be made, laundry put away, depersonalize as much as you can. Litter boxes are a big one. We need to make sure those are clean or put in the garage or somewhere out of sight. And of course, if you have pets, let's make sure that the new buyer that's walking in doesn't know that you have pets. We don't want them to smell them before they walk in. And you could probably find a better way to say that than I just did, but I wanted to point that out so you guys know that that's a conversation that I do have, particularly if they have animals and I smell a pet smell. I don't hide it. I make sure that I subtly drop the hint 7 or 8 times, and then I mention it to them several more times, and I'll let Melissa know, hey, we need to make sure that we get carpets cleaned first or whatever, just to make, because that's a bad reflection on us if we take a property that has a pet smell, and it's not going to sell. We know that. So let's make sure that we're doing them a disservice if we're not honest. And so it's an honest conversation we have to have with them. All right, the second P is promotion. This is one of my passions. As you can tell, I'm a pretty passionate person. I'm passionate about what we do every day and how we're able to serve as many people as we are. But I really, really have taken a liking to marketing. I feel like one of my jobs as a real estate agent is to be the best marketer that I can be. I feel like the better I am at marketing, the more eyeballs I'm going to get on your property, the quicker I'm going to sell it, and the more money I'm going to get for you out of your property. So a lot of real estate agents are kind of stuck in the past. To me, I said earlier that we're an old school company on a bunch of new school principles and technology. What exactly does that mean? I'll break that down a little bit. The world has changed. Technology has taken over everything. Technology rules the world. And so the world is here, and I feel like real estate is here. And so real estate is lagging behind. There's a lot of real estate agents that still advertise in home magazines. No offense, that's not what we do. If you were going to look for a house right now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what would you do? You would pick up your phone and you would search homes for sale wherever you're looking, right? Or you go to an app to look for that, right? That's what everybody does. I've got the stats, 95% of home buyers use the internet to search for a new home, period. That's where everybody is. So that's where we're going to focus our marketing. Number 2, among the buyers who use the internet to search for a home, 58% found the home they purchased through the internet. Think about that for a minute. That means over half of the people that bought a home found the home they purchased online. They didn't come to the real estate agent and say, hey, can you help me find a house? They came to the real estate agent and said, I want to buy 123 Main Street. I want to go see it. That's not how real estate used to be. And so there's a bunch of companies and people that are stuck in the past they stick a sign in the yard and hope for somebody to come. That's not us. We're not reactive. We're a very proactive company. And so one of the ways that we will do that is we will make sure we promote your property properly. That's a tongue twister. Promote your property properly. So that whenever they are looking on the internet, it'll be there front and center. And so when they do find the home themselves, because that's what they do, that's the world we live in, they don't have to come to us anymore. There's so much information right here in the palm of their hand, they don't have to come to us first. And so once they are ready and they find that information, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that your property is the one they find. And so that's what we really do with our promotion and our marketing. Another thing is, if 72% of home buyers use a mobile or tablet device, or tablet website or application to search for a home, people aren't on their old desktop dial-up internet anymore looking for houses. They're on their phone or they're on their mobile device looking for houses. And so we have the best mobile-friendly website that money can buy. We advertise on all the apps, Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, all of them, you name it, we advertise there, so we can make sure that we're front and center with your property. Of course, if you're not on the multiple listing service, then you're not even on the realtor radar. That's what realtors look at every day to find out what's there. So we will advertise there so that we'll make sure that other realtors see it as well. Promotion, this is an example of where all of our listings syndicate to. The best way to explain this is that we spend so much money marketing that if there is a home, or if there's a home search site that your home is not on, there's a problem because we pay for it to be there. So if you find that and we miss it in one of our processes, or there's a new site that pops up that it's not there, please let us know, because we are paying for it to be there and we will get that fixed for you. Any site that advertises houses for sale, your home will be there. Here's an example of some of our promotions. So one of the things that we do for all of our listings is we get professional photos done. I don't come out with my iPhone and take a couple selfie photos and call it good and put it on the internet. We have a professional photographer. Just like I said, we have all these divisions around to give you better service. One of those divisions is marketing, and to me, a subdivision of that is our photographer. And so our photographer is a professional photographer that has their own equipment, and they do this for a living. and they will come out and they will photo your property to make it look its best as possibly can. We already established everybody looks online. And so if they look online, but we don't have proper photos, are we really doing our job? I don't feel like we are. And so what we will do is we will make sure that your home has the best photos we could possibly get. Here's an example of a house that was listed with another company for 6 months. They didn't have any luck selling it. They called us and said, can you please help? We're in financial bind because we had it listed for 6 months. We moved out and we haven't sold it. So within 2 or 3 weeks, we had an offer on the property once we listed it. This is the same exact property. It doesn't look the same because our marketing really helped make it stand out. I've got tons and tons of examples, but this is just a good example to show you what we can do to make your property stand out. When people are looking online and they are finding the property before they're going to the real estate agent, which one of these would you want as marketing for your property? You'd probably want this bottom one, right? Because that's the one that is going to grab people's attention and they're going to click on it. And so that's what we're going to do for you. Here's an example of some other cool photos that we've taken that we really enjoyed, just to kind of showcase some of our abilities. Here's a drone footage of a property that had a 30-acre lake that we sold. So if your property does have acreage, that is something that we offer, and I'll explain that more as we go. So promotion. So I mentioned earlier that we are a forward-thinking company. Real estate in the world has changed, and so social media has taken over the world, right? So anybody can put a house on Facebook, right? I can go and click a share and I can put it on Facebook. So when somebody says I can put your house on Facebook, that's not the magic of social media. The magic of social media is behind the scenes. And I'll show you some slides here that explain that. But it's not just Facebook anymore. Millennials are the #1 source of home buyers as of this year for the first time ever. And so what are millennials doing? They grew up on social media. They grew up on Facebook. Now they are switching to, they don't have Facebook anymore, they have Instagram. And so we are on all these platforms as prominent as we possibly can in front of people so that we can get their attention. And so not only will we post it there, we will post it there strategically so that the right people see it. As many people as we can, but also the right people. And so one of the ways we do that is through a targeted Facebook ad. Here's just an example. We had 34,000 people that we reached this week on Facebook, and 24,000 of those people engaged. So for those, some of the classes I've taken on marketing has been on social media. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the algorithm on Facebook, which is always changing, by the way, engagement is everything. And so what that means is that 24,000 of those 34,000 people we reached liked, commented, clicked, shared our post. That's huge because now we are providing value to Facebook's audience. So to wrap your head around what that means is that Facebook likes us because we deliver content that provides their platform value. And so what that means is that a lot more people see our stuff than anybody else's. 34,000 in this week and 24,000 of those engaged. Here's an example of one post. So this is a weekly breakdown, and this is an example of one post here. So this one post reached almost 10,000 people, had 70 comments and 27 shares. And so this would be an example of if we list your property and we do a targeted ad, this could have been your property. And so what are the chances if you have all this engagement on an ad that we run, what are the chances of you finding more interested people in your property? The cool part here, I talked a lot about targeted ads, and I mentioned earlier that just because it's on Facebook doesn't mean it's on Facebook how we can do it. So if you look at this yellow or orangish line here, the light one is organic reach and the dark one is paid reach. So the interesting part here is that we reach more people organically than we paid for. So what does that mean? That means we have earned that over years and years and years of developing a loyal audience on our social media following and targeting to the right people, that we no longer have to run ads to reach the right people. However, we still do to try to continue to grow our audience, but our organic reach, when we just post something, reaches more people than when we pay for it. That is stuff that you can't buy. Remember earlier I said we're an old school principle company, and we want to earn your word of mouth advertising. Money can't buy that. Money can't buy this organic reach either. You have to earn it. And so we can target audience with two different aspects. So geographical, we can target based on their location. One of the new things that I just talked about with our marketing manager today, as a matter of fact, was that we can now target people that are moving to Pulaski County, Phelps County, Fort Leonard Wood, whatever we want to target. We can target just those people. We can target those people that are likely to move, because Facebook knows if you're likely to move. Instagram knows if you're likely to move. If you calculated a mortgage on a site, if you search realtor.com, if you search Zillow, if you are a similar audience to our database of 15,000 people that we have that are looking for houses, we can target you. So not only will we target you, just send a big shotgun approach out there, but we also send a rifle approach, and we will target the right people that are looking at your property, that are interested in actually purchasing a house, not just tire kickers. So it makes a huge, huge difference. We also do the same stuff. We don't just advertise on social media. We have a massive Google pay-per-click ad budget. We advertise on Yahoo, Bing. We have an SEO, so search engine optimization, on the best real estate website that money can buy. We spend thousands on pay-per-click to drive traffic to our website through all these platforms, as well as through social media. So I mentioned our website. So here's a sneak peek of the back end of our website. So let's pretend that this is your property. We just listed it. We've got this cool little button that says best fit leads. So our website has an algorithm of its own. And so our database of 15,000 leads that have clicked somewhere to sign up on our website, that are actively looking for a house, our website knows what it is they're looking for. So they're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch for around 150,000. And so that just happens to be what your house is, right? So we're going to click best fit leads. It's going to give you a sales score, which we've blacked out because we had to black out their numbers and stuff here, but it gives you a sales score from 100 down to 1. And so anybody with a certain sales score, it means that this may be a good fit for that client. We can send a mass text to them. We can call them, of course. We can email them this property and say, hey, check this house out. It just came on the market. We think it may be a good fit for you. Again, that is giving us a really, really fine audience of not just the shotgun approach of, well, let's put this out in front of a lot of people. Let's put this out in front of people that are actually actively looking for a house and that are searching for homes that are similar to yours. That I can't stress to you how powerful that is. And then I mentioned drones earlier. So your property does have 20 acres. So I think drone would be a great fit for you. So we can do drone video. We'll do drone photos, and it really, really make your property stand out. Another thing that's good on social media is videos. We also have a YouTube channel for all this stuff, but all of social media's engagement is video. And so when we have somebody that's looking for 20 acres, they probably want 3 goats and 2 chickens, right? That's what everybody wants, it seems like these days. And so what we're going to do is showcase your property from the air to show them how this mini farm could be for them, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that it would be a really good fit to help get us some more eyeballs. And of course, we have our 3D virtual tours. I always ask at this point, have you guys seen any of these that we have shared? Most of the time they'll say yes. If they don't, you can click this link and go to it and walk them through one so they can actually see it. But I just explained that this makes your house accessible from anywhere in the world just by a click of a button. It's in 4K quality. It's real. It's like really being there in the property. You can see the dollhouse view. You can see the floor plan, and you can walk through the property like you were there in person from anywhere in the world. And so it just really, really helps your home showcase. It also, I mentioned SEO earlier. So something else that this does is it allows us to use what we call a virtual tour on your listing. And that virtual tour will give us a higher ranking of SEO on all of the websites that we sync to, realtor.com, Zillow, et cetera, because now we will rank higher because we have a virtual tour on your property. So what does that mean? If your neighbor lists their house for the exact same price as you, the same day that you list it, and they don't have a virtual tour or this link, and they don't have the 40 plus photos that we're going to have, and they have not filled out all their marketing things that we have done and done their whole checklist that we have, then whose house is going to rank first? Yours is going to rank first. And so that is extremely powerful. Whenever they search for a buyer searching for a house, we live in an instant gratification world. So they don't want to spend a lot of time looking. They're going to click on the first one that pops up. And that's going to be yours because you've chosen the best team to market it. And of course, price. So we can promote it well, we can present your home well, but if we don't price it well, we're kind of kicking ourselves in the foot. So this is one where you said in the beginning, here's another thing that they use, I want an honest agent, or I want somebody that's just going to tell me the truth. When they tell me that, I just let it loose. And so at this point, I just tell them the truth. And so I'll pretend that they said they want an honest real estate agent at the beginning. And so at the beginning, I asked you, what are 3 things you're looking for? And one of the things you said was honesty. And so I'm going to give it to you. I've been told before that I'm too honest, but if that's the worst people can say about me, I'm doing pretty good, right? So if we cannot trick the consumer to overpay for your property. Number one, if they get a mortgage, they're going to have to get an appraisal that is there to keep the market honest. So we can't overprice your listing. It does us absolutely no good. So there's 2 ways you can price your house. Here's where the honesty comes in. You can price your home to sell it, or you can price it to sit on the market. Which one do you want to do? You want to sell your property. That's why you called me, right? And so what I'm going to do is remember the 3 Ps? I said I want to sell it for the highest possible price. So I'm not trying to cut you off at the knees and get you to sell your house at a discount, but I want us to be realistic, because this is not the Wild Wild West anymore. And there's so much information, remember, available right here, that they're going to know what you paid for the house when you bought it. They're going to know what your neighbor's house sold for before they even come to us. And so I don't even get a chance to handle those objections before they come to me typically. And so what we have got to do is make sure that we are priced appropriately. So I'm going to do my best to get you as much as I possibly can for your property. But if your property is worth $150,000 and we priced it at $200,000, it does us absolutely no good. People don't, have them just make an offer. People don't do that anymore. If they won't waste their time, we live in an instant gratification world. They won't waste their time to even look at your property if it's overpriced. They'll look at the one next door and they'll go buy it. You could have been willing to sell your house for less than your neighbors, but if your neighbor's priced appropriately and you're not, guess what? They're not even going to walk in your door because you're overpriced. And so we don't want that to happen. So activity versus timing. So when do you think we get the most activity on our listings? And they'll say, well, I don't know. Well, it's when we first list it. And so testing the market doesn't really work. That means if we, in that 150 and 200 scenario, if we list it at 200,000 and then we don't get any hits, and then we drop it to 175, we don't get any hits. 3 months later, we drop it to 150. Now, number one, we've wasted 6 months, and everybody sees that we dropped the price twice in $25,000 increments. We came down to 50,000. Now, what are they going to say? Man, this seller's desperate. Let's make him a lowball offer. You're down at the price that you wanted to get from the get-go, but now you're going to have to sell it for less money because everybody sees where you started. And it's 6 months later, so you have 6 months more mortgage payments. Who knows what could have went wrong with the property, versus when we just price it right ahead of time, we can be a tough negotiator and get you more money. And on top of that, the people may not even make a lowball offer because they may look at it and say, well, what is wrong with the property? If you're looking at a property and you see one, all these houses are selling, and you see one that's set on the market for 6 months, what's your first instinct going to be? It's going to be, what is wrong with that property? We don't want people to think that about your home. So Larissa, right here, we need to adjust this to say comparative market analysis, not competitive. So we'll do a CMA for you, a comparable market analysis, that basically, one of the reasons I wanted to set this appointment with you and see your beautiful home is because real estate is and always will be a local business. So there's people on, I mentioned all the information being available right here. There is, and they have this cool thing that's called a Zestimate. They absolutely have no clue what your property is worth. I'm sorry, they don't, because real estate's a local business. And I don't have any clue what your property is worth until I walk through it in person and can see it. And then when I walk through it, our process is, I don't want to give you a shoot from the hip number. I don't want to give you a number just based on stats. I want to give you a number based on what I observe when I walk through the property, what your motivation is, and what are the stats, what are the real numbers. And so now that I've seen your property, I want to go back and I want to find accurate comparables of active properties, sold properties, and pending properties that are like yours, so that we can come up with a strategic number to get you top of the market for your property. So things that affect the price. Why are you moving? Are you if you need to move in a week versus you need to move in a year, we're probably going to price it differently. And so I need you and I to have an open dialogue about this so that we can be on the same team here and make sure that we reach your goal. So we also have a property management company. And so if you are on a strict time frame and we're just not able to sell it in your time frame, but you need that mortgage payment covered, we have a wonderful property management team that can take care of that for you, so that we can take that worry off your plate and make sure we get your mortgage payment covered. And honestly, most of our homeowners cash flow from month to month. So if that's an option, we have that as well. So again, back to price, the effects of overpricing. If we price it at market value, we expose it to a much greater percentage of prospective buyers. Again, there's so much information available out there, we just can't trick them. So this increases your chances for a sale while ensuring a final sales price that properly reflects the market value of your home. And so what that means is that, again, we can't oversell your home. We can't sell it for more than it appraises for. It's just not going to happen in this market. And so we have to make sure that we are realistic, but at the same time, my job is to sell it within your time frame, to market it to more people, to hopefully get you the top of market versus bottom of market. All right, so other things that affect price, and just so you know, Amanda, and whoever watches this, is some people, I skip through all this because they get it. Some people, I have to just hit all of these slides really, really hard. So at the end of it, when I send them the CMA and it's 25,000 less than they thought it was worth, I've already broken that groundwork so that they know I'm doing this to help them, not to hurt them. And so your terms offered as a seller affect your listing price. Your broker representation, how well we market your property, how easy you are on allowing us to show, all of that affects our listing price. What are the comparables? Of course, that's one of the most important things. What property features do you have? So you have a fence, your neighbor's house doesn't, so we can probably sell yours for more money. What is your motivation? Are you motivated to sell it right now, or do you want to hold off and try to get more money? So that is a factor. And again, we need to have an honest conversation about that so that we're on the same team here. And of course, market conditions. What are interest rates doing? What does the competition look like on the market? What is the demand for buyers? What does the economy look like? All that stuff is factors that we have to consider when pricing your home. So again, you asked for an honest realtor, so I'm just going to give it to you honest. And again, Amanda, on this one, I don't always go over this one, but if I need to, I will. I'll smack them upside the face with it. And so I will tell them that these are things that have absolutely no impact on the value of your home. What you paid for it does not matter. Absolutely does not matter. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Certain investments you made in the property. You painted Susie Q's room pink. I know that you love that pink paint, but that does not increase the value of your property. I'm sorry. What you want to net from the sale, you want to make 10 grand? Great. That sounds wonderful, but let's price it at the market, not price it on base what you need to net from the sale. The buyer doesn't care what you need to net from the sale. Buyer cares what does the market say, and what those outside the industry believe your property is worth. So Uncle Joe in California has no clue what your house is worth here in rural Missouri. So trust me when I say I'm the expert here, and we will guide you and hold your hand through this process and give you the proper advice. All right, so I mentioned earlier we had two offices. So our two main counties are Pulaski County and Phelps County. And Larissa, remind me to rerun numbers here to make sure that these are still accurate. We'll update this. So in Pulaski County, we sell homes twice as fast as the market average. So the market average is 116 days. We sell houses in 59 days. So that's twice as fast as the market average. In Phelps County, the average days on market was 136 days, and we sell them in 56 days, so over twice as fast. And then Larissa, right after this one, we got the 98% slide of what we sell them for. Let's move that slide to right here so I can really hammer that home. And then we can talk about the unique value of your home. So depending on how the conversations go here, I'm just so you know, I'm going very elaborate on this because it's a training one. I really read the audience. I still skim through everything, but I'm trying to hit every point that I can so you guys get the point. The unique value of their home. So if I'm struggling to find some kind of rapport, I'll get them talking again. And so what caused you guys to buy this home? And so get them talking about, oh, well, we really like this or like that. And I'll be taking notes because I'm going to tell them that this is stuff, ammunition that I'm going to use to a buyer I bring to your property to sell them on this property just like it sold you. And so a lot of people will really relate with that because nobody takes the time to do that and ask them questions. They talk about how great they are and how they should list with them, but they don't care about them or why they bought it or what. So next question, what features of the home have you enjoyed? And so I'll ask as many of these as I need depending on how the conversation goes. And then one of the things that you mentioned earlier is what you want communication. And so that's one of the most common complaints that I hear is lack of communication. Again, that's what our team and support staff is here for, is to over communicate with you. But we also believe in, what did I say? We're an old school company, but we have believe in new school technology and innovation. So one of the things that we have is called List Hub, and basically every single week it will send you a report from Realtor.com, Zillow, Homes.com, any website that will give us the information on your property. We will share that information with you weekly so you can keep a tab on what is going on with your property on those websites. And our support staff is there from for anything that you need to answer. So if I'm on another appointment and you can't get a hold of me, you're not bothering our staff when you call their office and try to talk to them if you have an urgent question. By all means, that's what we're here for. We're a team that give you support. So don't feel like you're left on an island if you can't get a hold of me right away. Total transactions, I don't even go over that. Larissa, I think we should add something here about our total number of sales and our how we are in the market, blah, 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 that explains this better. Amanda, basically what this was designed to do this was a certain amount of time frame that we sold 158 transactions, and this is the next 3 best agents. We're less than half that. So we sold twice as many homes as the next best agent, and we sell them twice as fast. And then this is the slide I said I wanted to move up earlier. So I just hammer them on price if I need to, but then I close it with this. My goal is to get you the most that I can for your home. And so I beat you up pretty heavy on price, but this is why. On average, we sell homes for over 98% of what we list them for. What does that mean? When we list a house, I would rather list it appropriately and be a tough negotiator than to list it high to quote unquote see what happens, because I know exactly what's going to happen. It's just going to sit there. And so let's price it appropriately and be a tough negotiator, because once we get them in the door, they've already fallen in love. Then we can be a tough negotiator with them. And so I've got the stats to back it up. It's almost 99% of what we list them for, we sell them for. So at that point, sometimes sellers will just take a deep breath out and be like, oh, okay. He's not just trying to get me to list it low. And so this really, really kind of closes the whole thing. And again, Larissa, let's remove this one. So what else can we offer you? We offer what we call one-day listing agreement. Basically, this is designed, it's a cool catchphrase, it's a cool name. But basically what it is we don't believe in contracts, we believe in accountability. If we do not say if we do not do what we say we will do, you can fire us at any time. So what does that mean? I've got to sleep at night, I've got a conscience, and we are here to help people, not to hold people into contracts they don't want to be in. And so if there's ever a time that you don't think that we're living up to our end of the bargain, just have an honest conversation with me, and I will do everything in my power to fix it. But if it's something I can't fix, I'm not going to hold you to a contract you don't want to be in. It's just not something that I want to do. That's not who we are as a company. And so, yes, we will ask you to sign a contract, but just so you know, if you want out of that contract, all you have to do is ask, and you give us a valid reason, and we will be happy to let you out of the contract. Of course, one of the stipulations is we have a contract on it. Obviously, we can't let you out of your listing contract at that point. But the whole point of this is what we believe in accountability. We're going to hold ourselves accountable, and we're going to under promise and over deliver. And then I also mentioned here, this is just my personal story to give you an idea of stuff that I want you guys to come up with. I personally worked with another broker in the past. And again, I'm not trying to talk bad about them, but a lot of this stuff was developed because of the negative reactions or the negative things I saw in other offices or talked to other sellers about, that I wanted to make sure they didn't have that bad experience with me. And so there was another company that forced me to keep people into contracts. And so if you signed a listing contract for 6 months and you wanted out in a month because you weren't moving anymore, I could let you out, but you had to pay me $1,000 marketing fee to let you out. And to me, that's just not right. That you aren't moving anymore because of whatever happened in your life. You probably got more important things going on to worry about me and my stupid contract. And so I'm not going to hold you to that contract. I'm going to do what's right. And so that's just an example of why we do that. Benefits of the team approach. Hopefully one of these days we have a football team. I created this cool little helmet. Is the team approach is way more efficient. Everybody is a specialist. And so I can't iterate enough. When people do what they're good at and what they're passionate about, and they have tunnel vision on it, and they don't get distracted by this, and that, Remember the graph from the beginning of what an agent does on an everyday basis versus how we operate. And so let's use a buyer's agent as an example, because that's probably who's going to sell your property, is one of our buyer's agents. And why they're able to do that is because, number one, we have a ton of marketing and lead generation coming in, but they have tunnel vision on, they are working with buyers every single day. And that's all they're doing, is they're working on finding buyers a new property. They're not distracted by all the other different things that come into real estate. Their job is, we have taken all that off their plate as a team to allow them to focus on giving the buyers better service so they can help that buyer buy your property, hopefully. And so everybody's a specialist, and when people enjoy what they do and they're good at it and they don't get distracted, they do a much better job. Of course, immediate service, greater customer service, and larger marketing budget. So this is one of my favorite slides here. And honestly, this is one of the things that I almost didn't put in this presentation, but I felt like I owed it to you to show you this. And so I don't know if you plan on interviewing any other agents, but do you? And so I'll just ask them if they plan on interviewing any other agents. Sometimes I'll ask them before I go, and I'll be like, all right, am I interviewing for this job? Oh, okay, who are you meeting with? And when are you meeting with them? Don't be afraid of that, because when I'm competing, I promise you, nobody can line up to what we can do. I promise you. And so it just helps me get on my A game more, but that's why this slide comes important. So back to how I'm having this conversation. So here are 2 reasons not to hire an agent. Don't hire an agent because they're going to say that they're going to sell it for some pie in the sky price. That it just, I've explained that to you in our pricing slides. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't work that way anymore. And don't say, because they're going to do it for, they're going to sell your house for $100. What kind of marketing are they going to offer you? And if they can't negotiate their own commission, how are they going to negotiate on your behalf? And so I don't say this to say that, oh, only pick us and don't interview other agents. I encourage you to interview other agents, see what's out there, because I know for a fact that we're the best fit for you. And so why I do this is because I've sat at the table with people where I didn't give them this slide. I was scared to ask them if they were interviewing other agents. And so what happened was they would go with somebody else that the house was worth about $150,000 and that person listed it for $225,000. And so 6 months later, because that agency wouldn't let them, and they were going to do it for 1% real estate commission. And so, yeah, that sounds great to the seller. I'm going to sell it for $75,000 more, and I'm only paying 1%. Well, shoot, yeah, I'll sign me up. But what they don't realize is 6 months later, because that agent won't let them out of the contract when they don't market the stinking thing, they call me, and now they're in a financial bind if they haven't already went into foreclosure. And I don't want that to happen to you. So I just want to have an honest, transparent conversation with you and let you know that my job, I'm focused more on what I net you versus what you pay me. And so my job is to net you as much money as I possibly can. And then if there's a conversation to be had there, I just go more in depth, and I'm just honest about it. And people say, well, so-and-so said they do it for 5%. So that's great. Maybe they're a good fit for you. But if you want this extra marketing and you enjoy what and you want to work with one team in the area, we are not a discount company. But I promise you, you will not regret that decision. At the end of the day, we're going to net you more money, and we're going to sell your home faster. I encourage people to look us up. Check us out everywhere. We have nothing to hide. And one of the things I always tell people is I'm approached weekly by companies that want me to pay for fake reviews, and I absolutely flat out refuse to do it because I feel like I need to earn them. And so we have over 250 now. Larissa, we need to look at this and update it. Over 250 5-star reviews that we have. And I know all of these people. These people have worked with us personally. Somebody on my team has their number in their cell phone. These aren't fake people. Read them, look at them. These are real people that will really show why we do what we do. We don't do this for the money or for the glory. We do this because we want to help people. We think it is a huge, people are trusting us with the largest asset in their life. You are trusting us to help you sell the biggest purchase you've ever made in your life. We don't take that lightly. And so we give you the best service that we possibly can. So we have options for you. We're not a one-size-fits-all company. So one of our options is a 6% commission with a $295 administrative fee. And so the administrative fee is a part of the commission. I just, again, in the spirit of transparency, I'm not trying to hide it anywhere. It's right here for you to see. That is just a part of our commission, and nothing is due to us until we sell your property. I take all the risk up front. We do all the photos. We pay for all the signage. We pay for all the support staff, all of that stuff, because we know that if we work together on this, we're going to sell your property. And so with this package, you get better service than you would get with any other company by far, hands down. So you get the professional market analysis of your property, high quality photos from our photographer. We will advertise your property on social media. You have access to our full-time support staff. And again, better service than you will get anywhere else. But if you want more, I want to give you more. And so we also have a 7% package with the same administrative fee. And so just so you know, this is absolutely not an upsell. I utterly do not care which package you choose. To be honest, at the 7% package, I am out more money up front. And so if we don't sell your property, I lost more money. On average, it's between $1,800 and $2,500. I'm out writing a check by the time that we have your property listed with this package, because of the 3D that we offer, because of the detailed targeting that we offer, the open house that we offer that I advertise for, the drone footage that we do. All of that stuff costs me a lot of money. And so I want to do that for you if you see the value. I just need to return on my investment whenever we do that. And so the difference between these two are the 3D that you saw and I showed you that you walked through. And again, that does more than just give you the cool 3D. That helps you with the SEO on the other websites. The detailed targeting. So any property that we list, we will market on Facebook. But when I say detailed targeting, how I broke that down about we are targeting people that are moving to the area, people that are looking to buy, people that have a certain income range. And we are marketing to those detailed few people. That is something I want to offer you. But again, that costs me a lot of extra money to market to those people, and I need a return on that investment. And then, of course, if you want an open house, we can do an open house. We just like we do everything else. We don't just do an open house by sticking one sign in the yard and hoping people come by to eat some cookies. We advertise that 2 weeks in advance. We call it a mega open house for a reason. We put out 25 pointer signs out. Everybody in town knows that we're having an open house. We put it on all the sites 2 weeks in advance. We advertise it everywhere so that we know that people know that we're having an open house on your property so that we can get you some attention. And of course, the drone footage that I showed you. And again, all that is additional expenses that I want to give you the option of. If you see the value in it, that you want to spend the money in doing that, I want to offer that to you. What questions do you have? That's it. Amanda, what questions do you have?
Sorry, my mouse was froze. Can you go back just one slide?
2 slides.
The next, yeah. At the very bottom down there where it says home must meet the requirements for drone video and open house to qualify, what does that mean?
So if it's a $20,000 shack, I'm not doing open house. So I will point that out to you. I missed that because my thing was covering it. But I point, and you will only see one asterisk in this whole presentation. It's right here. And I'm telling you right now, your property qualifies. So that is just intended for if they ask, I'll just tell them. And I'll use some off-the-wall example. Well, if you've got a trailer that's uninhabitable, I'm not doing a 3D walkthrough on it. Like it just doesn't make sense. And so we put that in there to, the 7% is not offered to all properties, but your property would be a great fit for it, and we'd love to do it for you. And then I also put, and I forgot to, this is my final close, and I got thrown off my game because I'm going more in detail. Usually I have give and take, and so this is kind of hard for me because I ask a lot of questions. I try to do a lot more listening than I do talking. But I always say that, where was I going? Oh, and just so you guys know, again, this is not an upsell. It really does not matter to me which one you choose. Either package, you will get better service than you will get with any other company, hands down. But I will tell you that our 7% sell faster and for more money because of the additional marketing that we do. And so if that is of value to you, we want to offer it. So which package do you want to choose? And that's my close.
Okay.
Even if they said they're meeting with some agent in 2 hours, I still close it. Because there's people that will call the agent and they'll say, oh, well, yeah, I really want to go with you, but I told Susie Q that I'd meet with her. Oh, no problem. I know Susie Q. I'll just call her and tell her that we just listed it. It won't be a problem at all. I literally will call the agent right there. I'll pick it up and not give them a chance to say, oh, no, it's okay. No, you said you want to list with me. Let me call Susie Q for you. And I'll call them and say, hey, whoever it is, I just want to let you know I'm with whoever at 123 Main Street. And we just signed a listing agreement with them. And they said they were going to meet with you later, but they wanted to cancel that appointment. Okay, thanks. Have a good day. Boom. In front of the seller. Because they don't want to be the bad guy. That's why they still want to meet. That make sense?
Yeah.
So how does this compare, Amanda, in your eyes to the buyer's presentation?
I mean, it's in the beginning, it's very similar, and then it just goes more in depth. So.
Yeah. And I don't know how long this has taken, but this is more in depth than I go over it with people. But I wanted you guys to see all angles, and so I want you to make it your own, but still use the same things that I say, the important things that I pulled out of there, and have. Again, it's all about building rapport and building trust. And so even if I'm going to list my mom's property, I know I'm not competing for the listing. I don't have to show her any of this crap, but I do, because I want her to understand how the process works and what we do and who we are and what we're about. I can't stress that enough. That's so important. And I hope lead buyers agents are stressing that to buyers agents too, is that that's part of why we do the buyers agency, because we want a chance to tell our story. Who is MSREG? What do we stand for? How are we here to help you? Because that is, people relate with that more than any value that you add, because we're actual people that are here for a great cause, and so we have to tell that story as many times as we can. But other than that, all the marketing, all that stuff, it is very, 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 very rare that I don't close the deal at the table, that they don't say, yep, I'm ready to go with you. Even if they're meeting with other people or have met with other people. So it's just, you have to build that rapport. You have to have the confidence to say some of the stuff that I said that sounded harsh. I say it just like that to the seller, but they have to hear that so that we can help them. If we are cushioning that or we are sugarcoating it, it doesn't help them. At the end of the day, it hurts them, because now they're not going to get the result that they wanted because we didn't do our job properly. And so when I lose a listing, it's because I hurt somebody's feelings. But guess what happens? 6 months later, they call me and say, hey, you were right. Can you help me? And so that's why I'm able to have that conversation, because I know for a fact that having that honest conversation, even if it may hurt their feelings, it's the same thing with you agents. It's the same thing. I have that honest conversation because I know for a fact it's going to help. I'm doing a disservice if I don't have that honest conversation. So you've got to, I can't stress enough, for this to work how it has worked for me and for Shannon, you have to have confidence. You have to understand who we are, what we offer, and that you have to know at the bottom of your heart, there is no other option but us. And if they list with somebody else, they are making a huge mistake, and we can't let them make that mistake. Do you have any questions?
I don't.
You learn anything?
I did.
What'd you learn?
With how many people are on the team, it seems very overwhelmed, but I think the breakdown, so it really does make them feel like they will be super taken care of. I think that's super important. You get to see that in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Larissa, something else I want to add is on the 6%, we need to add some more, and maybe on the 7% too, some more stuff about what we do. And so one of the things I missed here on the 6% is the full-time support staff. I talk about that in the old presentation. It was like in every other slide, because for real, I think that is a huge advantage that we have that we don't tell clients enough. And I would tell them, you don't understand this advantage yet, but I promise once you work with us, you will, because it's not just me. It's our whole team that is looking out for your best interest and taking care of you. And so whether it's with listing coordinator, transaction coordinator, with our marketing department, with our buyers agents, whatever, all those people are working together. And so our support staff are really the unsung heroes that you don't realize yet, but they're going to be the heroes that help you sell your property. And I really hit on that, number one, because it's true, but number two, because people they can't grasp that. Like they called to list with an agent, not a team. And so that's why it's important for them to understand that. So Larissa, if you need my input on this while you're watching this, just let me know, because I think that we need to add some more stuff here just to show other things that we offer. All right, Amanda, any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right, well, I hope you learned something. I'm going to stop the recording.